We have some absolutely huge breaking news that just dropped. The Toronto Maple Leafs have just absolutely robbed the NHL. And following what has been a crazy past few weeks of speculation surrounding Stolarz' future in Toronto, not only is his future clear now, he's going to be here for the foreseeable future. And Brad Treliving cooked up once again and robbed the NHL, pulled off an absolute heist. We're going to break down exactly what this contract is, why it's a heist, as well as a few other updates on this episode. But before we get into it all, quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you who are watching right now aren't subscribed. If you're enjoying the daily Leafs content, multiple videos a day, live streams after every game, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Darius, what a day. I had a video on it earlier today, and it is official. Way better than I initially thought. And Brad Treliving continues to cook. He's had a fantastic offseason. Chef Brad ends the offseason, what we assume, I mean, more moves are coming, but ends at least the work for today with an absolute robbery of a deal. Let's dive right into it. Breaking news, folks, 3 minutes ago, keeping you guys up to date with it. 4 years, $15 million at an AAV of 3.75. Stolarz was amazing in his time last year. Now extends with the Leafs on an amazing team-friendly deal. Shout out to Kevin Weeks for the insight. Darius, absolutely unbelievable. The Leafs now have both of their goalies locked up for the foreseeable future at like $7.5-ish million per year. I don't know what got into these players, what got into Brad this past offseason. Players are taking discounts again to return to Toronto. John Tavares, even Matthew Nyes probably could have got a little bit more. Anthony Stolarz after his first year here. Absolutely incredible. Treliving strikes again.
Well, I'll tell you what's gotten into them. The passion, baby. These guys want to be here and they want to be Toronto Maple Leafs. And another great example is Anthony Stolarz. And this contract is way better than I thought it was going to be. A lot of people were drawing comparisons a couple weeks ago when we first heard that Stolarz wanted to get this done before the season started. And keep that in mind, there was mutual interest there. He wanted to stay and they wanted to get this out of the way before the season started. People were drawing comparisons to maybe the Vancouver Canucks goaltending situation, which would be kind of around 9 million and even more. Some people were speculating, which I actually would have been okay with because I like these two goaltenders. I think they're great, right? And when one of them goes out, like last year, Anthony Stolarz went out, Joseph Woll played pretty well. So I would have been fine with that. This is way better. Like you said, we're looking at like, just shy of $8 million for your goaltenders, two really good goaltenders. So I'm really happy with this. It's going to take Stolarz to his mid-30s at this point. There's been a lot of question marks about, obviously he played a career high last year. Can he take it to another level this year? I think he can because obviously he missed a lot of time due to that injury last year. And it was a bit of a freak injury as well. So excited to see what he's going to be able to do this season. But make no mistake about it. This is your starting goaltender. I know they're kind of going to go back and forth like the Bruins were doing a couple years ago with both of them, assuming Joseph Woll does come back in a timely manner. We don't know what's going on with that. We don't have any update on that. But, he's making less than $4 million signed for the next 4 years. You don't have to worry about your goaltending at this point. He was great last year. I think he's going to take another step this year. And it's just a great deal, Nick. Like, honestly, this is really, really good news for Leafs fans because it's been a while since you could look at the goaltending and go, there's no problem there.
Yeah, vibes are at an all-time high right now. I mean, Stolarz, Woll, one of the best tandems in the NHL, arguably the best last year, now locked up for the price of what is cheaper than a lot of, ace goalies, right? Way cheaper. And obviously, you look at a couple different things. He is only 31 years old, so this will take him into his age 35 season. And this is the second time now with goaltenders that they've signed them before their initial contract is up. Stolarz is on year 2 of his, of course, $2.5 million deal here over 2 years. He was going to be and set to be a free agent there in 2026. They now have him locked up this year. So it's really 5 more years this year and then another 4. I'm happy. I am happy, extremely, extremely happy with this. And again, the deal they got initially was a steal by Brad Treliving. Like signing Stolarz was probably the best move of the offseason last year, along with a couple other ones. Now, pulling off an offseason of, no one can say that Brad Treliving didn't have at least active offseason, whether you like the moves or not. Machelli, Dakota Joshua, Nicola Waugh, Anthony Stolarz extended so many moves, not even to mention all the prospects they got, William Villeneuve, Luke Hames, all these different guys. It is incredible. And folks, look at this Fresh chart. When he's healthy, unironically, one of the best goalies in the league. Let's just ignore that 0% rebound control because Stolarz makes up for it by being 6'6" or whatever he is. It feels like a pipe dream because we were waiting so long for an actual good goalie in Toronto, one that can actually carry you. Of course, you can talk about James Reimer as one of them, Jack Campbell, all these different guys. Darius, he's going to be the 1A. He's going to be the, I think, starting goalie of the future. Can he stay healthy is the question. But even then, what is the risk here really with the cap rising? Let's say one of the two flail out a little bit, and at the very worst is a 3 goals against average backup goalie. you're still fine because one of these guys is bound to hit. Holy, what a move. I'm absolutely shocked, honestly. They got it done at 3.75. I was expecting 4 or 5 years at 5 million if you would ask me a week ago.
Yeah, and I was doing some digging as well because, like you mentioned, the salary cap is going up. So, what does this look like in a couple of years? By 2029, it's going to be like Stolarz is making 2.5 or 2.8 million dollars, depending on how much the cap goes up each year, because there's a lot of variables with that over the next couple of seasons. But it's going to be around that, like 2.5, like what he's making right now. So that's great value. That's great value. He's getting a raise, and he's making the percentage of the same percentage of the cap, essentially, if not a little bit less. I think that's tidy work from Brad Living. And like you said, you could like some of the moves he made. Maybe you don't like some of the moves. He's very active so far, and he's actively trying to make this team better and a contender to go win the Stanley Cup. So I love this. And like you brought up here, this JFresh chart, unironically, like he doesn't play as much as Hellebuck and some of these other guys, right? In terms of like sample size season over season. But unironically, if you just look at the stats for guys who've played more than 20 games, one of the best goaltenders in the entire league in terms of advanced analytics, your regular stats, right? Save percentage, goals against average. Unironically, one of the best goaltenders in the league the last couple of years. So Leafs have him locked up. I think he's going to take a step in terms of games played this year. So really happy that they got this done. And for less than $4 million, to take him to 35 years old, I don't see any problems with this, and I think he's only going to get better at this point. So really exciting stuff for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Obviously, there's a big story now with who's the backup goaltender, right? And we can talk about that a little bit too, but at least for the time being. But I think this, puts a lot at ease, because if you went into the season, players, agents, they don't necessarily always love to negotiate in season. So that would have been a problem. And then feelings can change based on how the season goes and how the playoffs go. So, if you let it go to next offseason, that could have been a problem. And then if you played so great, then maybe he's asking for more money. That's not the case. There's mutual interest. They got it done before the season starts. And now we can kind of relax heading into this season, just let everything fall where it is, and try and go out and win a Stanley Cup, because there's not as much noise in terms of, who's staying, who's going, stuff like that.
And I covered in the video earlier, James Myrtle reported that, like you mentioned, their camp didn't want to negotiate midseason. So it was now or never. And there's a lot of teams out there. I mean, a lot. And, Oilers, for example, Connor McDavid, where they don't have good goaltending at all. The Leafs now have 2 good goalies. Their cap space is looking good. And I mean, you look around the NHL, even like there's a handful of teams that have the ace goalies that are locked up. Hellebuck, of course, Florida over there. Like there's a few. The Leafs have one of those guys at a fourth of the price. Just the biggest question mark is, can he be as consistent and as healthy? It's a risk I'm willing to take. And I mean, I'm very happy. If he hit the open market after a good year, not only would he have made a lot more money, but I can guarantee you teams like the Montreal Canadiens and other teams like that who desperately need a 1A goalie. They have Samuel Montembeault. They have a couple other Dobesh, but the Leafs now have him locked up. And something else keeping an eye out on here, the Leafs now, like most of their core, almost everybody is locked up. No distractions. Team is ready to win some hockey games. Let us know down below what your thoughts are. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.